Carolina Works is brought to you in part by the South Carolina Occupational Information System, South Carolina's official career resource network, and your pathway to success.
Coming up on Carolina Works, the performing life from two perspectives. Students hoping to become the next big thing hone their chops at Columbia Rock Academy. Also, actress Vicky Saye Henderson talks about acting and teaching and how each nurtures the other. Life and art, music and drama on this month's Carolina Works. Hi, I'm Marilyn Matthews, filling in this month for Clark Newsom. This month's Carolina Works is devoted to two extended stories about life on the stage and what it takes to get there. First, we'll visit the Columbia Rock Academy, where young people prepare to be the next Ramones, the next Nirvana, or the next American Idol. Take your pick. We'll also visit with Columbia actress Vicky Saye Henderson, who talks about what it takes to make it as an actress on her own terms. We start by finding out what all the noise is about at the Columbia Rock Academy.
Music for me is a real spiritual thing, you know what I mean? It's a lifelong thing, and it's just the joy it brings me. You know, the emotions tied into it, but music is a huge core of my life. So what I get out of it, what I get out of music is joy, and so it's never thought it would end up becoming a career for me, but it definitely has become that now. I can't imagine doing anything else. And the basic premise of the Rock Academy is that if you play electric guitar, if you play drums, if you want to sing rock vocals, what are you going to do in your local high school? You can't join the chorus by and large. I mean, they do mostly, you know, Broadway and that kind of thing. They do some rock songs, but it's not the same as playing with a band. You can't do drum set lessons, you do percussion. If you're an electric guitar player, you might get to play in the jazz band, but that's one position for 1,000 kids. So to make music for teens a less solitary road, if they play these instruments, they need to play with others, and they get more serious about it, and that is the why I founded the Rock Academy, is to give them an outlet for these modern instruments, but in a group format.
Hoping to attend at Carl-Charleston and major in jazz guitar. I want to then take that further and get my master's degree in jazz guitar, and then hopefully start a band and start touring, because that's what I've always really wanted to do.
I want to be on Broadway someday, or maybe on American Idol or something.
I got the idea for the Rock Academy. I mean, of course, everybody saw this movie School of Rock, and that was a huge international phenomenon of the film. And to me, it was something that I thought for a long time we should try to put together, was band classes, and the movie kind of gave me an impetus to take an action on it. Coupled with Gene Simmons had a show on VH1 where he went to England and also did a School of Rock. So I was like, well, it's getting about time for me to try to do this. The way the Rock Academy works is if a student called today and they were 13 years old and they wanted to join the Rock Academy, the first thing they have to do is get set up with a private teacher, because all of them do private lessons in addition to the band classes. Once we do that, we have them do a free orientation. They come down, they play with a class. We try to match them to a group that's at their age, and that's at their level, or their interest. And then if they enjoy the orientation, then they join the classes. And so every other Saturday for an hour, they would do a band class. And that's basically the format. And every 6 months we do concerts. So for 6 months we work on doing the next concert. Just like a football team will work on a game, or a dance studio will work on the Nutcracker, something like that. The way that the bands are put together is we have 3 guitar players. We should have 1 bass player, although it's hard to find sometimes, a drummer and a singer for each band. And that is the personnel for each band class. We as teachers match them according to their age and according to the level. We're not going to put an 11-year-old and an 18-year-old in the same band. case. We try to match them more age appropriately. As far as how the songs are selected goes, that's been something we've been working over time, but basically our attitude with the students as of today is this. You look at your singer, and what their abilities are, and you base your songs off of that.
Oh, a lot of the girls, they want to sound a little bit like, I don't know, Leona Lewis. She's a new pop star right now. I have a lot of younger students who want to sound just like Hannah Montana. That's a big one with the younger students. And generally for males, they want to sound like Michael Bublé, just a gorgeous male voice. Depending on usually what style of music they like is that singer they want to sound like. But I tell them that I want to have their own identity too. When a student comes in, you're getting to know a brand new instrument. It's not just like guitar or piano. The instrument set, you know how the instrument's gonna sound. So that first lesson is definitely discovering what kind of color, what kind of tone, what kind of range that person has, and their, what kind of level are they already on singing, what kind of talents they have. So getting to know their voice, and then we usually start the first 5 minutes some basic just, stretching, getting the voice ready for vocalization. We start small. We usually go about 10 minutes doing a, slow gradual warm up. And then depending on what the student is interested in, we can go on to, usually in the first lesson I want them to sing for me, but we go into songs they want to study. And a lot of times, it varies so much with each student. Almost each student has a different lesson plan. But warm-ups, work on songs, different vocal techniques.
What I love about performing is, and I was watching actually the Ramones documentary, is what Joey's brother said was that it's a whole different kind of high, it's a whole different kind of feeling getting to play for people. Whereas in people like to play, get that adrenaline rush from playing baseball or racing cars. It's a whole different kind of feeling to play on stage and to be giving people this music and making them enjoy themselves. That's what I love to do. I love to play music for myself, but also, have all these people have a great time. It's all about the show and about having people experience this music and have a fun time being there.
I think the biggest thing that we give them is a stage. If you're 16 and living in Northeast Columbia and know a few guys, how are you going to have the connections to end up on a stage, the opening for Driving and Crying at the Crawfish Festival? How are you going to play for 1,000 people at Vista Lights? How are you going to have the connections to allow Jillian's to let you come in and do a 4-hour concert? I think that's the biggest thing we give them they can't get on their own, is a stage.
Oh, kid, you love that alphabet soup. You always told me it reminded me of you. You poured your heart into that bowl, always gave me your spirit and soul. Marty always encouraged me to do what I want to do. The Rock Academy is all about, if you bring in a song and say, hey, can you help me learn this? They're going to help you, like all they can do. They're going to lead you in the right direction to where you want to go with things. If you want to do, hardcore stuff, they're going to, they're not just going to say, oh no, this is only a classical guitar studio. It's like all kinds of music are open, and they just pretty much encourage you for whatever you want to do. They're going to follow you. I always kind of toyed around with it, but I never really wrote a song until maybe a full song until probably maybe a year and a half ago. And I've written maybe 7 or 8 other songs since that are complete songs.
Regarding success stories of students that have attended the Academy, one example I can cite is a girl named Rebecca Smith, who has now graduated and moved on. And she's at AC Flora High School, and she is writing her own music and performing at places like Headliners and New Brooklyn Tavern, and she's out there doing it and writing her own songs, and that to me is exciting. Robin Austin is relatively new to our program. She's very young. I believe she's 11 years old. And I think Robin's got a very bright future. She's a good singer. She's really making a lot of progress in her vocals. She sang at the library recently with the band, so she's getting some good solid experience. So I'm expecting big things from her in the future.
I think Robin has a great future as a singer. She's got the support of both her mother and I, support them both. Anything they want to do. We're big into the arts. We like to support the arts, and I think the Rock Academy has given her a great head start.
Yes, it does help me become more confident because I know that people like my voice, and it makes me feel more confident in myself.
So what's great about it, like one of the students you're going to interview today, Kevin Johnson, is that Kevin came to us very quiet, and he's just had a total transformation. Now he's looking to go to Charleston for music, so that is what you hope for, is somebody like Kevin that gets serious, gets into their music, and just runs with it. In contrast, you do have some that you have to pull aside. Maybe there are behavior issues, maybe there are ego issues, maybe there are I don't want to play this song, or I don't want to play with this person, and they're getting along issues.
I love to write my own music. It's always a great thing to do when I'm at home, and coming up with lyrics, if you're like angry or whatever, or you want to tell a story about something, it's always a fun way to release that. Writing lyrics and writing riffs and writing solos is always really a lot of fun, especially like with friends of mine who play other instruments, when they're like, well, I have this riff, can you help me with the beat? And it's always just a great way to spend time and get feelings out and tell stories and stuff like that.
Regardless of whether or not they go on to be the next Bruce Springsteen, I think the experience they have here is valid for all of them because they were able to get on a stage and perform. The one thing about our program is that, let's say you, the viewer at home, your child was in it. Well, if they're in it, they play. It's not optional. It's not as, well, maybe they'll get on stage or maybe they won't. Every student here gets on stage, and that's something you can never take away from them. They got on a stage and they played a show in front of an audience, and they'll always have that, and that I think is extremely valid, regardless of if they ever do another show again. They can be proud that they got up there and did the show and were a success on that level.
Music education, even in public school, having some kind of extracurricular activity is great. Keep kids, goal setting especially. Have something to practice every week, come in and do. Learning instruments makes you, extremely coordinated. And in singing, it makes you extremely confident, because whether you think so or not, singing takes a lot of guts. And just music education in general makes you, it ties into every other subject whether you think so or not. There's little things. It makes you aware of all art forms, not even just music. It just gets you in the gist of just art and appreciating art everywhere.
Regarding the future of the Rock Academy and where I want it to go, I'm frankly pretty happy now with what's been happening. We've got some great kids. They put on great concerts. We've got a great bunch. And I don't really know that I'm looking to get any bigger with the program, because I'd rather focus on quality than quantity. And that's kind of one of our messages to the kids is, instead of doing 8 songs 50%, why don't you do 3 or 4 really well?
Well, right now, I just like playing music, and I like expressing myself through music. And I don't really know where that's going to take me, but, maybe I'll get some good recordings and send it off somewhere, or maybe I'll just be a music teacher. I don't really know, but I just like showing people what I'm about through what I do, I guess.
Vicky Saye Henderson is a full-time performer who appears in everything from popular musicals to children's theater to comedies to intense dramas by Williams and Chekhov. She also teaches acting to small children, young people, and to her own peers. She's one of those rare people who has managed to support herself as an actor, and she'll be the first to tell you it's as much about creating opportunity as seeking it.
I think we are all actors. Anyone who is alive has modified or changed their behavior in an attempt to get something they need or want. I think that makes us all somehow tuned in to the acting profession. Actors who do something like this for a living are professional storytellers. Without a good story to tell, we're rendered useless. We have nothing to offer or do. So I would say what makes the average Joe on the street different from someone who, say, gets up on the stage and acts on a given night or in front of a camera is just they've learned to maybe cultivate their skills to a higher degree. I've learned that every audience almost has a character of its own. And there are sometimes just audiences that are very appreciative and very with you, but are very introspective and very quiet. Comedy is delicate. It's a very delicate thing, and the sooner you can create a rapport with the audience and have them trust that they are in good hands for the next 2 hours and trust your ability to suspend their disbelief and to entertain them and that you're not going to be making a lot of mistakes, the sooner they can relax into that trust and just sit back and enjoy the show, I find they give themselves over to the story and the comedy, and they are often a little more willing to engage with you and laugh out loud.
And I wanted to open. I wanted to be the kind of person that could give a decision-maker presentation of my own and make cold calls and close like nobody's business.
My favorite single role was probably that of Hannah from The Night of the Iguana by Tennessee Williams. I found her to be very spiritual, and I found her to be very birthing to me personally. She came along at a time for me personally when things were changing for me, and I found that role to be very therapeutic. Acting is something that pursued me. I didn't really pursue it. I was originally supposed to be a psychology of advertising major. Just my history is chock full of times when I've tried to abandon it, but it has pursued me in very strong ways. One of the reasons I didn't think I wanted to become an actor when I was young was I didn't understand the path from here to there, where you suddenly wake up one day and say, I am a successful working actor, I pay my bills with this, I'm known, I'm respected, I'm doing the level of work I want to do. I did not see the stepping stones that led to the destination I wanted, and I was frustrated by that for a very long time. And what I later learned was that the beauty is that there is no one road. There are lots and lots of different roads, but perhaps the best advice I've been given along the way is to make your own opportunities while you continue to train and wait for opportunities to come your way. I'm a believer in that old saying that luck is where skill and opportunity meet. And I think people who are making opportunities for themselves are constantly honing their craft. They're constantly putting up the energy and vibrations that they're there and ready to play. And people find that infectious, I think. People want to be around that kind of energy. The hardest part of being an actor is the lack of job security. There's not a lot of job security. If you get a paycheck for a gig, you better put it in the bank and save it, because you don't know how much longer it's going to be before another great check like that rolls along. That creates some sleepless nights from time to time. That's probably the worst part, but the good parts, for me, far outweigh any of the negatives. I'm still here doing it. So. People ask me sometimes, hey, what are you doing on Wednesdays at 2? And I can never tell you. I have to tell you which week are you talking about, because no 2 days are ever alike for me. A life in the arts is very piecemeal, it's very patchwork, very flux. For an actor, and I would say anybody in the arts, you are the CEO, the bookkeeper, the sales department, the marketing department, the goods manager for your small business. And you're constantly watching those pots boil on your stove. So for this week, I've got some private coaching that I'm going to be doing with some individuals. I'm in rehearsal for a Trust Us Youth Theater show. I'm going to be doing some planning for the Trust Us Actors Garage program that we have kicking off this season in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be doing some guest artist spots at Heathwood Hall Episcopal School. I love teaching as a teaching artist because inherently I make great discoveries about my craft when I'm planning and teaching others. I oftentimes let go of that teacher hat and become more of a facilitator and sometimes even a player with my students. And I think that's the best way to learn, is when you're being drawn out rather than something being crammed in. So I really enjoy my teaching artist moments because I usually walk away with a very deep understanding of my craft that I didn't have the hour before it started. One young woman that I'm coaching right now isn't real sure if she wants to fully engage in this acting thing. However, she does know that she wants to become more confident as a person. And I think that's her ultimate goal, is to get something out of that. Another person that I'm working with right now, I'm honored to be working with because she is a peer of mine. And she and I are actually on the barter system. Whenever there's a singing role that I'm up for, she is my teacher. The work that I'll be doing with the high school students is to introduce a unit on improvisational acting technique that can then spill over and help them in their scripted scene work later in the semester. And then with the kindergarten students, we're going to do a unit that I've done with them before called Movement and Masks. Then we create a series of kinetic movement for them in adopting characters that are the animals that they have. So it'll be an opportunity for really young people, 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds, to look at a different form of theater that they probably don't get a lot of exposure to otherwise, that being masks. But they are such kinetic beings that the movement is something that they enjoy and appreciate. Rewired is an improvisation and sketch comedy team at Workshop Theater that we started a year ago. It's intended for 7th through 12th grade students in the Midlands who have auditioned and earned a role in one of the 2 companies there. We have an A team and a B team. It's a year of intensive improv training, 19 hours a month. They also get to work with South Carolina filmmakers to put their original sketches on film, and then we premiere them. And they also get to perform at citywide festivals or drama festivals as the entertainment and things like that. So a lot of real practical nuts and bolts skills that they get, and it looks very nice on a resume once they head off to college and want to maybe audition for some programs in theater. Rip Van Winkle is the season opener for our 2nd season of the Trust Us Youth Theater that takes place in our Black Box Theater at Trust Us. Rip Van Winkle is an hour-long show for families and for children. We just had our first read-through last night. We'll be doing some more text work this evening and some up-on-our-feet blocking work as the week progresses.
Rip Van Winkle! Rip! Rip, when I find you, and I will find you, I'm going to beat you with this ladle. Just to remind you why I don't have anything to serve from it. Lazy.
I play Dame Van Winkle, and also Rip's daughter 20 years later, who is the spitting image, oddly enough, of the mother 20 years later. After he wakes up. It's a fairly small cast. Theater for children is insanely fun. My son was in there with us for the read-through, and he was a fantastic gauge of how children are going to respond to it. They respond so much differently than adults do and will. There are a lot of art forms that you can do by yourself, independently and solo. I really like that it's a collaborative art. You create something that's bigger than something you could do on your own. There's a marriage of thought and a marriage of creativity that happens, and something totally new springs from that. So the collaborative spirit of it, the ensemble, the community that springs from people who are artists working together is something that's very appetizing to me. And it truly has become a calling. I think actors serve as the mirrors for society. We help to reflect back to one another the human condition, take a pulse reading. How are we doing as people on this planet? And we invite people to stop, look, feel, listen, take their own temperature, and check in with their own humanity for a little while. I think that's pretty sacred.
The partners who make up the South Carolina workforce system are here to help everyone, young and old, find the tools for success. To find out more about the programs and services featured on this show, be sure to visit our website at www.carolinaworks.org. Thanks for watching, and please join us again next time on Carolina Works.
Carolina Works is brought to you in part by the South Carolina Occupational Information System, South Carolina's official career resource network, and your pathway to success.